Close your eyes for a single second and picture two completely different human beings. The first person wakes up the exact microsecond their alarm goes off, attacks their duties with relentless execution, and views every obstacle not as a roadblock, but as raw material for character. The second person is trapped inside an endless loop of mediocrity, paralyzed by excuses, drifting aimlessly through life like a leaf caught in a hurricane. What do you think is the real differentiator here? Intelligence, luck, genetic lottery? None of the above. The invisible wall separating these two human realities comes down to one single, razor-thin margin: a daily, 2-minute, Stoic friction ritual. Today, we are going to drop the mask. We are going to reveal the exact microscopic habit that separates the masters of their own minds from the slaves of their impulses. But before we break it down, here is the paradox you need to understand. This 2-minute practice requires almost zero physical effort, yet it possesses the strange, explosive power to instantly neutralize every single excuse your brain will manufacture for the rest of the day. If you lock in and watch this script all the way to the end, your entire perspective on discipline, sovereignty, and identity will be permanently altered by tomorrow morning. Let us cut straight to the core. We are not going to dance around philosophy for 20 minutes. The exact habit that divides the strong from the weak is called voluntary friction and radical self-inquiry. It is an uncompromising, 2-minute practice, executed every single morning without exception. You sit in silence, look inward, and force your mind to answer one brutal question. Where am I surrendering to comfort today, and what judgment am I using to justify my own weakness? Marcus Aurelius did not conquer his mind by waiting for motivation. He sat down in his tent every night and every morning and interrogated his own impressions. The strong individual does not negotiate with their feelings. They stop. They isolate the exact mental loophole they are about to use, and they shut it down before the day even begins. Why is this single habit the ultimate dividing line? Because everything else, your alarm clock, your dopamine loops, your relationship with comfort, is merely a symptom. This habit is the cure. Now that you know the weapon, let us look at the exact battlefield where it is deployed. The first 5 seconds of your morning. Epictetus taught a fundamental truth that most people completely miss. Men are disturbed, not by things, but by the view which they take of them. When your alarm rings, the noise itself is neutral. It is just sound waves hitting your eardrum. The weakness begins the millisecond your mind invents a narrative to escape it. It is too cold outside. I earned a few extra minutes of sleep. I will start my discipline tomorrow when I feel more rested. That narrative is a false judgment. The weak mind accepts that judgment as absolute fact and surrenders. The strong mind uses the core habit, voluntary friction, to intercept that thought, expose it as a lie, and tear themselves away from the bed. You do not wait to feel like waking up. You move, and your emotional state is forced to catch up to your physical reality. To see how this actually plays out in real life, we have to look past modern productivity hacks and study historical execution. Look at Cato the Younger. While Rome was collapsing into moral decay, bribery, and political theater, Cato walked through the freezing streets of the city barefoot, bareheaded, and entirely indifferent to luxury. People mocked him for being rigid. They called him an anomaly. Yet while his peers softened their minds in heated villas, drowning in the easy pleasures of the empire, Cato's internal fortress remained impenetrable. Why did he do it? Because Cato understood a profound psychological law. If you do not occasionally starve your desires will eventually starve your willpower. When you voluntarily introduce microdoses of difficulty into your day, whether it is a freezing shower, fasting, or executing a task you despise, you are inoculating your soul against panic. When sudden crisis hits, the weak break because they have trained only for comfort. The strong remain unshakable because they have already rehearsed hardship in private. This brings us directly to the classical definition of strength. Arete, or human excellence. In Stoicism, true strength has nothing to do with physical intimidation, loud voices, or social status. It is the absolute sovereignty of reason over passion. It is the ability to look at a temptation, recognize it as an external impression outside of your direct control, and choose virtue instead. Consider a modern high-stakes scenario. You sit down at your desk facing a daunting project that threatens your career if you fail. Your nervous system screams at you to open a browser tab, escape into digital noise, and avoid the pain. A weak individual yields, rationalizes the procrastination, and feels a quiet wave of self-loathing by evening. A practitioner of voluntary friction stops, catches the rationalization, labels it as a weak judgment, and forces their pen to paper for 10 unbroken minutes. That 10-minute victory compounds. By sunset, you are not a man fighting your own shadow. You are a person who keeps sacred promises to himself. Let us address the inevitable reality of choosing this path. Strength is profoundly lonely. The moment you stop making excuses, you become a living mirror for the people around you. Your discipline will quietly make your peers uncomfortable because your commitment exposes their inaction. They will call you rigid, intense, or obsessive. Let them. As Epictetus noted, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid regarding external things. The crowd seeks validation, cheap entertainment, and continuous distraction. The Stoic seeks internal coherence, unshakable tranquility, and alignment with nature. When a strong person stumbles, and they will, because to err is human, they do not look outward for a scapegoat. They immediately turn inward, apply the daily friction inquiry, extract the error with clinical precision, and return to duty. Now take a step back and look at the architecture of your current reality. Every single choice, every unexamined judgment, and every comfortable surrender up to this exact second has built the life you are currently living. If you are content with where you stand, close this video. Keep hitting the snooze button, keep chasing easy dopamine, and let the current take you. However, if there is a quiet, unyielding voice inside your chest, reminding you of your true potential, if you know you were built for a higher standard of character, then the experiment starts tomorrow morning. When that alarm sounds, do not negotiate. Sit on the edge of your bed. Execute your 2-minute friction inquiry. Challenge your own internal excuses, and step directly into the fire of action. Because life does not belong to the spectators who wait for ideal conditions. It belongs entirely to those who govern themselves. Remember this: the chasm between the strong and the weak is never wide. It is conquered in 2 minutes, starting tomorrow at dawn.